So tell me some of the things that you like the lessons that you got from mom and pops that you were able to apply because you said when you got to Vegas, I mean things jumped off for you. Like things started to move very fast. I'm always skittish of these kind of things because when someone says like, "Hey, it jumped off because of your character, because of your work ethic, and the things that you were willing to do that other people weren't willing to do." Can you let us into some of those things that were maybe simple and normal to you that really differentiated you from the pack?
Well, I'm not just I'm a people person. I love people. I like to help people. And when I was working in department stores, I'm just very like, "Hi guys." And everybody knew me, and one day I was dealing with clients and the clients would come in and they buy everything I would show them. And I was just like, I don't know how I do it. I just talk to them and they buy it. And so I slowly started growing within the company, and I just knew it was something I would always do. And then shortly after that, I said, I need to go on my own. I need to do this on my own. And I've been doing makeup for 27 years. And I genuinely can tell you, I love what I do.
Let me ask you this, Veronica, because when you see a person who has a bubbly personality, who is a people person, things like that, a lot of times, and this is just my own side, or that has the ability to be able to laugh, and we were laughing. I mean, my belly was hurting before we started recording. And that connection point, a lot of times that comes from trauma early on in our lives. You might be Maybe you're the superhero that just came out, that was bubbly, that had that. Was there that was there the traumas that, because for myself, like I like to laugh, I like to keep things light, everything. But the reason why is because there was a lot of pain early on. Was there trauma, and if so, what was it?
The divorce, hence why I left the Catholic school. As a child, I was in a Catholic school till about, I would say, fourth or fifth grade. And I knew that once they got a divorce, I would not be at that school anymore. And they pulled us out of the school. I ended up going to public school, but the divorce was super traumatic, super. And that was one of the things that really taught me to be a better mom and taught me to say, you know what, I'm not going to do the things that I experienced. I mean, I have been divorced for 6 years, and I was married for over 20 years. I got a divorce 6 years ago. And it was something that I didn't want my kids to go through anything traumatic like what I went through as a child. I wanted my kids to have a happy upbringing, seeing their parents get along. We get along great. I have a great relationship with my ex because of that, because I believe that kids need to see a positive environment. They need to be happy, because my environment was less than happy, as a child. But I always said, it's okay. I'm going to be happy because everybody else is miserable. So I'm going to be happy. And I continued to live that life. And I always tell my kids, no matter what, put a smile on your face, be happy, try to find the joy in things, because life can be hectic. It can be a little scary, and you have to find a way to be happy, and bring joy to the world. And I think that's why this is so near and dear to me. The physical abuse I saw as a child, it's a trigger for me to see people get hurt. It's a huge trigger.
About the specifics, like the little things, the little actionable items, and this is reverse, right? Because most of the people ask actionable items so you can live a prosperous life or whatever. That's not where I'm going. What I'm going with is I want to know the little things, like, and I see this a lot of times where it's like, oh, we don't have to have your account, or you don't have to have an account, or you don't have to have credit cards, you don't have to have it in your name. I got it in mind. We're married. We're good. And I'm not saying that's always going to be bad. But what are those little actionable items that now when you look back on your marriage, you were like, wow, these things were put in play, and it caused more of a challenge for me to leave when I was ready to leave.
I will say, I think the things that I just, thinking that you can't make it on your own, that now you're just like, I can totally do it. Like, I think people think, well, I don't have enough money. Listen, I left with $300, $300. And it was tough. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's definitely not easy, but it is definitely, that's why there are resources, which I had no idea there were at the time. You know, I had no idea there was so many resources to be able to get on your feet as far as, for you to get started. And I mean, I had my job, and luckily, I mean, I was blessed in the fact that I actually have a career that helped me and blessed me. And shortly after, I will tell you, the moment I walked away, my career took off. It literally took off. I was hired on to go do Fashion Week in Paris, then Fashion Week New York, then again to Paris, and back and forth to Maldives. And I said, wait a minute. It's like everything just took off the moment I walked away from him, because I needed to get away from that negative energy that was holding me down. But if I would have believed in myself before that, I probably would have done so much more. I get hired on to do big shows here in Las Vegas right after that, which allowed me to be able to get a house, allowed me to start moving on with my life, which I didn't think I could, because you're just like, wait, this is all there is. This is all there's gonna be. And that's not true, because we all know that the moment that you put yourself in a different light, you're literally growing, you're expanding. But because when you're in a dark place, you don't feel you can get out. You're like, no, this is as good as it's going to be. But that's not true. And we all know that's not true.
Veronica, I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to talk to the woman who's in a relationship, an abusive relationship right now. She's in an abusive relationship. Her man has put things in place that caused her to think that she's less than, and that she can't leave, and that she has to stay. And maybe she doesn't have a bank account. Maybe she doesn't have credit. Maybe she doesn't have a job. She has children involved, and the man is not only physically abusive, verbally abusive. And what would you say to that woman?
I would tell her that it's time for her to walk away, love herself. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There really is. And if you walk away and believe in yourself and have faith that God's got your back, there's nothing that he can't do to help you. And I truly believe in my heart that if you want a new beginning, you can have it. There's nothing that can stop you. There is no limit to how far you can go in life. There really isn't.
Especially being in the professional beauty industry for so long, a lot of people would be like, this is tough because I just feel like I'm working on just vanity. It ain't vanity, guys. The professional beauty industry is touching the heart and the soul. But there was something that touched your heart and your soul while you're working on these celebrities, while you're working at this highest level in the makeup business, and it changes everything for you. Take us to it.
So I was working an event, and this woman that you never in a million years would have thought was who she would turn out to be. This woman comes up to me and she says, your work is beautiful. I'd like to hire you to do makeup for about 10 girls. And I looked at her, I said, sure, no problem. I said, when is it for? And she told me the dates. I mean, this lady was so prim and proper, and I just thought, okay, wonderful, no problem. I show up to do makeup, and there was 10 women. They were all from the Middle East. None of them really spoke English, but two. At the very end, I ended up finding out that two of them spoke English. And the lady's like, you do their makeup and you just go home. That's it. I said, okay, great. I start doing the makeup, never thinking anything of it. And this happened 12 years ago. And so as I'm sitting there doing their makeup, no one's really talking. And two of the girls towards the end, one of them looks at the other one and she says, I'm scared, with very broken English. And at that point, I could see the fear in their eyes. And at that point, I was just like, okay, why are you scared? And the girl looks at me and she says like that. She wouldn't answer. And the other girl goes, it's fine. It's going to be fine, And I, at that moment, was like, I don't feel good about this whole thing. And I knew at that moment that these women, all of them, were being sold that night.